then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday night. Welcome to the Icon Cup Series on SRM. We're here at Atlanta this week, getting ready for some drafting action. Before we get started there, let's take a look at last week. We were at Pocono. It was dominated early by part-time driver Finnegan Myers. He led the first 24 laps before kind of running out on fuel, I believe, right at the end of stage one. Nathan Finnegan got the lead on that lap 25 to win the stage. And then Myers would pick up a penalty for an erratic pit entry, nearly go a lap down, but Finnegan would go on to sweep both stages. Then Myers, Finnegan, and Brian Smith would combine to lead 95 of the first 100 laps, but none of them would end up in victory lane. The final stage would come down to fuel mileage, cautions, green-white checkers. With 25 laps to go, Charlie Widener had set himself up as the only driver who could make it on fuel if they stayed green, and he was sitting in 12th place waiting for those 11 drivers in front of him to run out and have to pit. And around then, stage sweeper Nathan Finnegan, he was also trying to save fuel, thinking he could make it, but our math said he was going to run out with 1 lap to go, and then a late caution erased all that strategy. Took Widener's strategy out of the winning seat and gave Finnegan the fuel saving he needed to finish the race. It also brought Myers back up into the top 5. But then as the race was closing down, Myers made contact with the wall that pulled him out of contention. And then a multi-car wreck took out Brian Smith. And without enough extra fuel for a green-white checker, Finnegan was forced to pit as well. He would charge back to a podium finish from 12th on the final restart, but Cody Neal would hold the lead for the final 9 laps, including both of those green-white checkers, get his second victory of the season. So congratulations to last week's winner, Cody Neal, Charlie Widener, and Nathan Finnegan, your podium. So we take a look at the schedule real quick. We are here at Atlanta next week, Chicago Street Course for the 4th of July weekend, so we hope you'll be able to join us then. I'm Shane Cochran up in the SRM booth. With me, as usual, is Alan Bergen. Alan, how's your weekend going?
It's going great. Look, I tell you what, it's been a fun weekend for me. And I'm ready to wrap up the weekend here with the Icon Cup Series. And, we got 240 miles of high-flying, high-octane action here at the Echo Park Speedway. They renamed it. They have a sponsor for the Speedway, the Echo Park Speedway, and I guess they're going to be under the lights.
Yeah, should be an exciting race. If you watch the IRL Cup Series last night, they had quite a few accidents, and some of them were 20-plus car accidents. So hopefully we won't see anything that nasty here with the Icon Cup Series, but the potential is there with the close racing here at Echo Park Speedway, as you mentioned. We are wrapping up the warm-up and getting ready to take a look at our qualifying starting grid as this warm-up session wraps up. We'll see who was able to turn the fastest lap, although it's going to be easy to move forward here at Atlanta. Charlie Widener going to sit on the pole tonight with Brian Smith on the outside of the front row. Michael Taylor and Ryan Patty make up row 2. Travis Gilbert and Adam Ball, 5th and 6th. Jonathan Duncan and Zachary King in row 4. Cody Neal and Zach Lockett, the Rocket, in row 5. Kyle Gilbert and Mike Grenell in row 6. Then it's going to be Chuck Van Schaik in 13th, Jacob Gladelich in 14th, Thomas Taylor 15th, Brad Delf 16th, Nathan Finnegan 17th, Evan Patinko 18th, Jacob Smith 19th, Nathan Brzezowski 20th, Kevin Gunther 21st, Matt Everett 22nd, Kyle Purcell 23rd, Sean Purcell 24th, then Hanover Fist in 25th, Bentley Glazer, Charles Woods, Patrick Colby, John Ross, Cody Eldred, Kyle Diaz, Chris Camburn, and bringing up the rear in 33rd is Robert Bloon. 33 cars on the grid tonight. Going to be a fun one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, Travis Gilbert back in the field tonight in that 22 car. I mean, Charlie Widener put it on the pole. I mean, the winner could come from anywhere. We've seen a lot of great finishes here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a track kind of built from the ground up at this point to produce great racing and dramatic finishes with the speeds and kind of package of a Daytona Talladega drafting style of racing, but with just as much room as a Charlotte. Cars can get 3 wide when they're really disciplined, but keeping it disciplined long enough to survive that is really going to be the key to tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely. 240 miles here. I'm ready to rock and roll. These guys are ready to rock and roll. And Brian Smith's looking for another one, but there's 32 other drivers that think they can get by him. And it looks like Bentley Glazer going to start this one from the pits.
Yeah, I see that 87 still on pit road. As the 95 of Charlie Widener brings them around out of turn 4. Pace car hits the apron hard there as they come around. Thanks for joining us here on SRM with the Icon Cup Series. Green flag is in the air. A couple drivers getting squirrely, but they are heading across the flag stand down into turn 1 for the first time, and we've got some heavy pushing going on already as Ryan Patty is right on the bumper of Brian Smith on that outside lane. And down low, Widener getting pushed by Michael Taylor and Travis Gilbert on the inside lane.
Well, and here's the thing, Shane, is now you got Brian Smith, and Ryan Patty hooked up together. That's a dangerous combination. They're gonna rock it to the front here, but that inside line's just a little more dominant than the outside line right now.
Yeah, I think really it's going to be whichever lane has the most cars in it is probably the one that's going to be dominant in the middle of the pack to help you get to the front. Ooh, a little bit of contact. Michael Taylor goes into the grass. He's going to, back up across the track into Brad Delph. And another car back behind him.
That's a little one.
Cody Eldred involved. Yeah, we're going to need to go back and take a look. It looked like there was some contact maybe between Travis Gilbert and Michael Taylor up front. And then Michael went off track there and wasn't able to keep it down on the apron as he came through the grass. Really hard to slow down the car when you're on the grass, Alan.
Yeah, so that you would think that the grass would slow you down, but honestly, it just speeds you up, and you're along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, and I think Taylor also picked up a unsafe pit exit just by happenstance of coming across pit road there. I'm sure the admins will take care of that.
I'm sure they will too, but here we are under caution once again for the first time here for cause. And last night, we saw a 20-car pileup.
Let's ride along with Brad Delph here. He gets the worst of this wreck, as he can see Taylor down in the grass. You can hear him checking up. Oh, and just catches him anyway. Oh, and then there's some more contact with Brzezowski. A couple of cars there lucky to get through this.
Ouch. That's all I'm going to say is ouch.
And with that, about half the field is on pit road, either for damage or to extend their fuel window, maybe. So we take a look at our race rundown. We've got 160 laps tonight. Stages are at 40 and 80. Going to have 5 additional sets of tires. At Daytona or Talladega, you wouldn't worry about tires, but based on the Cup race last night, I think tires are going to be something you really need to ration and save for the end of the race. They were quite valuable. Then, as usual, we have our 24X incident limit. We'll do up to 3 green-white checkers if we need to. Fuel capacity, as usual, set at 60%. And that's going to set our fuel window to be somewhere between 40 and 43 laps, which means I think pitting here is the conservative call, staying out on the track, maybe shutting off the ignition and saving some fuel under caution is the gamble here under our first caution. But also, Alan, I don't know if you were catching a hold of this in some of the Discord chat. In my league and in this league here with Icon, there is a bug in the latest iRacing update. You cannot shut off the ignition in these next-gen cars unless you're below 70 miles an hour. And at some tracks, the pacing speed is right around there. So shutting off the motor to save fuel, especially under green flag laps, not an option currently as iRacing is supposed to be getting that fixed.
No, but there are other ways to save fuel. You can push the clutch in, or you can even ride around in the highest gear until right before you hit that Geico restart zone, and then downshift it to second.
All right, like I said, looks like the first 17 cars on track didn't pit there. Everyone behind them going to be safe on fuel for this first stage, for sure.
It's early enough in the race where you're not really going to need to pit right away, but you could extend those, like you said, extend that fuel mileage I think fuel mileage is going to be over tires today.
Yeah, especially if we get long green flag runs. I'm not sure we will, but if you do, that's where it's really going to come in. And even if we have a couple cautions, just deciding when to get fuel under those is going to be big. That pace car is back on pit road again. Charlie Widener still in first. Going to get a pretty good jump here on that restart. A couple guys behind him crashing bumpers. That's going to allow Brian Smith and Ryan Patty to jump into that inside line behind the 95. As we are racing once again here at Atlanta.
Yeah. I was going to say, Travis Gilbert not going to be content. Here comes Brian Smith making an outside move against Charlie Widener. He is all alone. That's not where you want to be. And that's going to allow Ryan Vandy to get sucked up underneath that 95 car. Here he comes making a move. We got a race for the lead.
And Patty wasting no time. First he leaves Smith out to dry and then makes the move himself down low. And that might be the strategy all night long. Being able to get to someone's inside and kind of pull a basic slide job through the corner seems to be the way to make passes here at Atlanta. As we come up on a lapped car, the 57 of Thomas Taylor. He's going to stay way out by the wall. Shouldn't be an issue here with the leaders, but a little bit further back. We've got 2 and 3 wide. They're going to have to make room for that 57.
That 57 car is going to have to find a hole to slide into. You do not want to lose the draft here at this racetrack.
Up front, Gilbert taking a peek to the inside. Still looking, not quite having the run he needs to get around Widener.
He's going to need just a little more help. Charlie Widener, he may be able to push Charlie Widener back up to the lead. We're 10 laps in. We got 151 laps left to go here. And yes, my math is mathing today. Not that it really ever maths, but I'm just saying.
As much as usual.
Right.
So far, Evan Patinko back in 18th. He's got the fastest lap of the race. Here on lap 10, making some moves towards the front. The biggest mover so far is going to be Patrick Colby in the 28, up 17 positions to 11th, trying to knock his way into the top 10. But right now, it's pretty much all the way back to 13th. They are single file, now all the way back to 15th. And those cars at the back, we take a look, Bentley Glazer in there, Kyle Diaz, they are losing ground to the leaders running too wide like this.
They got to get single filed out. They got to work together. This is a Daytona, Talladega type speedway now. It's not like that old Atlanta, that rough and bumpy Atlanta where you got to hustle the car. It is smooth and it's fast.
As Ryan Patty goes around.
Oh, no.
Looks like everybody else just barely able to avoid him. We're going to need to take a look back. He was in the lead at the time.
You just hate that for the owner here of the Icon Cup Series. And
oh, it just looked like he got loose on his own.
Looks like he got loose on his own, and Travis Gilbert was there and wasn't able to stop or check up in time.
Yeah, let's take a look at that in the slow-mo. He gets loose.
He goes around, and then Gilbert just finishes them off.
Yeah, Gilbert really with no chance to react there as it happened so fast on turn exit. And then did anyone collect Patty along the way? Right there, the 11. That's Robert Boone.
The 57 just got a.
Then the 57 and the 32 get collected by Balloon, I think, as they go around Patty. And then it looks safe from there. Yeah, it's going to be a long race here as Gilbert is dropping to the back. He may have claimed that one, anticipating an end-of-line penalty. Although I'm not sure I would put the blame on him myself, Alan.
I mean, he could always have the admins look at it at a later date.
Either way, he is going to come down pit road with another handful of cars in to get some repairs done quickly after that latest wreck. And that's going to put Charlie Widener right back out front. He's led 8 of our first 14 laps. Ryan Patty has led 6 so far. Just those two scoring laps led so far here tonight as we're on lap 15. If we keep having wrecks at this rate, it's going to be a long night, Alan.
It's going to be a long 160 laps here. But look, we got space. We can get these guys rolling here. Come on now. That's Georgia. We're in the Peach State.
Yeah, so just a quick race recap as we're here on lap 16. Charlie Widener on the pole. We've had 2 cautions so far. The first on lap 3 where Michael Taylor got some contact, maybe some help, went through the infield grass, and then came back up around turn 1, collecting some cars. And then here on lap 13, Ryan Patty got loose and went around off the nose of Travis Gilbert.
Oh boy, I hope we don't run out of room for a race recap. But hey, we do unfortunately have a winner to the race to the beer stand, and it's Brad Delphin, that 72 car, and Kevin Gunther. So it's a tie to the beer stand tonight.
Well, you always need a drinking buddy when you get there. So
yeah, you got to have someone to drown your sorrows with.
With that pace car going to hit pit road one more time. He's really getting some air tonight. We've got the green flag in the air here starting lap 17. We've already got a car off. Is that Chris Camburn in the 88?
Oh, he's going to get it going again. We're
No caution. We're staying green. He's going to rejoin safely.
He's already lost the draft up.
Wow, Jonathan Duncan making moves up to P2 now. Just behind Widener and just in front of Brian Smith. Kyle Gilbert there in P4. Cody Neal, last week's winner, in the top 5 now as well. And leading the outside lane is Nathan Finnegan in that 6 car.
Well, here comes Jonathan Duncan. He's looking to the outside for the lead. Does he gonna have a helping partner here? Maybe Brian Smith goes to the outside. There he goes. Brian Smith could use Jonathan Duncan as a pick and then drop down to the inside lane, just like Jonathan Duncan did just right there. That classic Daytona, to the lead and dump the outside line.
And they're looking pretty comfortable, 2 wide here, 2 by 2 all the way back to around 11th. And here comes some pushes. Sean Purcell now making his way into the top 10. He's up 14 positions on the night. Finnegan riding in 4th now, make that 3rd. He's up 14 positions.
And here comes the Rocket, Zach Lockett. He's making some moves. Where did he come from? Besides the back.
Ooh, Duncan and Finnegan in the wall. Four wide. There's a contact.
They saved it.
For now.
They don't save it.
We're still green, though. As Kyle Diaz goes through the grass. Zach Lockett involved. We're still green, Alan. This is really going to separate the field out.
I don't know how we're still green. We should have been yellow at least 3 times.
And that was pretty wild there. Not sure where it started, but up front, about the top 10, kind of unfazed by that. But here on lap 21, let's go back. I'm going to start with John Ross. See what he sees. Yeah, just a handful of cars trying to find their way through that. Look at this ride by Kyle Diaz down through the infield grass. And then Evan Patinko as well managed to stay off of pit road to not pick up that unwanted black flag for an unsafe entry or exit. But it seemed like it started with Finnegan and another car getting into the wall, having to check up, and then they were 4 wide, and I think 3 wide is doable. 4 wide not gonna happen here consistently.
4 wide, no good, no bueno.
And like I said, that's really gonna separate out the field as we now have Charlie Widener still leading up there with Cody Neal and Kyle Gilbert close in tow. And the top 10 still pretty close together. And then there's a second pack of just 3 or 4 cars. And then another pack way back behind them. And then a couple stragglers who went through the grass or got slowed down. Might have picked up some damage as well. So if you're not in this front pack, you're going to need a caution to get caught up here. We've got 15 laps to go in stage 1.
And that's what some of these drivers are getting to. Just trying to get to stage 1.
And then just in front of the lead pack, we've got Chris Camburn and Kyle Diaz. They are running by themselves, so no drafting help. And if they keep doing it that way, they're losing over a second a lap to these leaders. They might get lapped here before the stage. They got to watch out for that. We got a couple other cars going down to the apron on the backstretch.
Where did Cody Neal come from last week's winner? He's on the outside. He's got help from Brian Smith, his teammate there, in that Amsoil sponsor number 38.
Yeah,
Charlie Widener's been under fire for a minute.
We've got a lot of drivers here at the front hunting for the stage point. They know how much that can mean as they enter the playoffs. Really impressed with Widener. I mean, he's led 19 laps now. Been hard to get around at the front.
Yeah, I mean, that's so awesome how Charlie's just holding his own there. Here comes Kyle Gilbert. You know, Patrick Colby back there. Brian Smith. I mean, Charlie Widener's got to be smiling from ear to ear right now.
Yeah, and he's even getting a little bit of separation from those other guys as Kyle Gilbert comes up to give him a nice push. And then Patrick Colby going to shoot to the outside. He's up 25 positions. Make that 26 as he takes second away from Gilbert. moving forward all night long in that Alabama car.
Go Auburn.
And there, Cody Neal loses some momentum, and Smith got to check up. That's going to hurt both of them speed-wise. It's now Duncan moving back into the picture. Adam Ball in that 19. He started in the top 10. He's been there pretty much the whole time. And now they have caught, I believe that's going to be Camburn. They're going to put him a lap down. He's riding in 26th position. We saw him. He actually got down into the infield there on the restart, not related to that accident.
Maybe to avoid what could be the accident.
And that, I mean, this is a pretty impressive job by Camburn to not just get blown by this lead pack and have a chance here, because he knows they're also going to catch Kyle Diaz, and then those two are going to be racing for the lucky dog. As we have just 8 laps to go, so Camburn going to do his best to stay out in front of the leaders. Maybe try to blow by Diaz here. Actually looks like he's going to help him. I think I'd be a little more cutthroat at this point, trying to keep my lap.
I mean, all you gotta do is hang on and be that lucky dog. If they're eventually gonna go by him. Here comes Kyle Gilbert and Charlie Weiner on the outside. But I mean, it just goes back to the inside line, just a little bit more dominant right now.
Oh, and there goes Widener around.
Oh no. That's going to bring out a caution.
That is going to be our third caution of the night here on lap 33. We will go back and take a look at that one here. Again, the 95. I'm not sure. It just looked like he checked up. I think maybe let's ride on board with Gilbert, who's giving him a push as they're coming out of this turn. Oh, he gets loose and has to check up. The same thing that happened to Ryan Patty. And again, when you're right on someone's bumper in the draft here at Atlanta and they have to check up, you don't have time to react. That I'm not putting that on Gilbert. But just unfortunate, that's the second time we've seen someone in the lead get loose and then get a little bit of help from the guy in second and go around. That's going to leave Patrick Colby in the lead now. Still 5 laps to go here in stage 1.
Yeah, it's going to be a 5-lap shootout.
Well, I'll tell you what the unlucky number is so far tonight, Alan. It's 3. First caution on lap 3. Second caution, lap 13. Third caution, lap 33. Good thing we're not going to lap 300, because I think that might take everybody out.
Quinn, you're right, you're right. I don't think I can disagree with you on that one.
And with that, this is going to be the first time tonight that drivers might have a chance to flip a stage. We haven't really gotten to find out what the true fuel capacity is. Again, my estimate was that it's going to be somewhere between 40 and 43 laps. Here is that stage is coming up, which means if you could pit now and maybe try to stay out and use the track position to help yourself in stage 2. But I'm not seeing anybody doing it that doesn't need repairs.
Nah. I mean, you just run the 5 laps out. I mean, you almost have to. Just run the 5 laps out and get to the end of the stage.
Taking a look back through the history books here, Icon has only run this updated high banked Atlanta track once before, back September 2024. Ryan Patty, the winner in that race that had just 5 cautions.
Well, we're surpassing that one.
Yeah, we're certainly on pace to. So we've got 1 lap to green. We're going to come back at the end of lap 36. Which means it's going to be a 4-lap run to the end of stage 1 with Patrick Colby and Kyle Gilbert out front. They are lined up to that Echo Park restart zone. Oh, and Kyle Gilbert goes around right off the front row. That's going to be a caution right away. And I believe that will be
the stage.
Oh, John Ross involved too.
Oh, no, not the boss.
Couple drivers involved there. Let's see.
It's almost like Kyle Gilbert didn't go.
I think he just spun the tires. Might have to take a look from the blimp to see if he got some help or. Yeah, I don't. If he did, it was netcode. It just looked like, ooh, and then Widener's day goes from bad to worse as he collects heavy contact. And John Ross also involved there. Right on board with him. You can see the smoke. You just don't know what to do about it. He kind of splits Widener and Gilbert. Hopefully not picking up too much damage, but I think Gilbert did catch some heavy right front damage coming through there. Again, this Atlanta track, when things start happening, they happen fast and there is nowhere to go.
Can't run or hide in here.
So this time it looks like everybody's coming to pit road, Alan.
I would imagine this would be the end of the stage.
And it's a little bit harder to play games with coming to pit road because the commitment line is actually on the backstretch just as you get into turn 3. So you kind of have to make your pitting decision really early.
Really? Yeah, you kind of have to know what you want to do here.
But yeah, the whole field on pit road right now. And as I go back and look, I believe Patrick Colby won that stage. Brian Smith 2nd, Cody Neal 3rd, Jonathan Duncan 4th, and Adam Ball 5th. Kyle Purcell, Mike Grinnell, Sean Purcell, Nathan Brzezowski, and Matt Everett all picking up some stage points as the top 10 when that yellow came out. And as I said, this is gonna. Everyone's coming down pit road, and if you're feeling good about fuel mileage, you should be able to make it to the end of this second stage. But having this first stage end a couple laps early does mean you're gonna need a couple more laps of fuel to do that. But based on tonight's statistics, I'm not sure we're gonna go green all the way there.
We're off to a smashing start. We're almost we've almost beat the last the last caution or the last race. It was 4 cautions. We're going to surpass that tonight easily.
Looks like Cody Eldred stayed out. He's going to get a wave around. Brian Smith won the battle off of pit road. Looks like just about everybody taking 4 tires. Full tank of fuel here. Travis Gilbert in 11th. Looks like he took fuel only, as did Kyle Diaz. Other than that, seems like everybody up front in the top 15 or so, getting those 4 tires, full tank of fuel. And then all the drivers back behind them all having extended pit stops to get damage repaired from one of these cautions here in stage 1.
Well, the field's bunched up. We're getting ready to go back to green here to start stage 2. This time we're going to try to make it all the way back to lap 80.
Again, that pace car really testing the suspension tonight, coming down off that banking.
Well, I mean, at this rate, the pace car is going to get the most laps led, so why not?
And Brian Smith leads them back to green, gets a great run with his friend, the 38 Cody Neal right behind him. Duncan going to jump in behind them in third. Colby settles into fourth. So we get single file pretty fast here, Alan.
This is another one of those, what do I say, cooperation nights.
Can you spell that?
I can use it in a sentence. I got to give that one a DW. That was pretty good.
Yeah, everybody kind of taking it easy. A lot of single file racing. And as they do that, we're going to take our first commercial break of the night here on SRM with the Icon Cup Series. We'll be right back with more action here in the Atlanta 240. Welcome back. Here to SRM, watching the Icon Cup Series Sunday night action at Atlanta. If you were watching that side-by-side during the commercial, you'd notice that a couple drivers got caught up in an incident there back on lap 41. Let's take another look at it. Alan, looks like the 5 car just has to check up, and then behind him is Camburn, John Ross, Woods, then Eldred goes around. Didn't see any heavy damage to many of these cars, but everybody having to check up. We'll go ahead and maybe ride on board with Camburn. See what we see here out of that 5 car. Yeah, it just gets a little loose and checks up more than the 88's expecting. A couple drivers get sideways. Most of them keep it going. Looks like Eldred was the only one to really come to a complete stop. Not a lot of damage, I hope. All of our drivers. That's going to leave Zachary King in the 47. Actually took the lead just before that caution came out. They're on lap 45. So no shortage of cautions here tonight, Alan.
No shortage of carnage either.
We've still got, let's see, 25 cars on the lead lap. 26 cars still in the race. 7 cars having a drink at the beer stand already tonight. And we have just started stage 2. Not even halfway. And there goes the pace car. One more time. We come back to the green flag through that Echo Park restart zone. Did you notice that, Alan? Not only is it the Echo Park Raceway or Speedway, but it is the Echo Park restart zone as well. Getting their name on everything.
I mean, go big or go home, just like Brian Smith did as he takes the lead at turn number 1. And he's got his teammate Cody Neal right behind him. Here comes Zachary King in that number 47 car to the outside. He's got Travis Gilbert right behind him in that 22 car. Go Auburn. Here comes Patrick Colby in that number 28 car. He's on the outside. He's trying to get sucked up to Travis Gilbert.
And that 47 car looking to have some speed here in stage 2. That's Zachary King of Meatball Motorsports joining this battle for the front. Started in 8th position, but didn't see a lot of him until now as Brian King comes back into the lead on the bottom. Or sorry, Brian Smith, pardon me. Brian King was my an old manager at an old job. Hope Brian's doing well.
An old manager and an old... Was he like 90?
No, he wasn't old. He was... Sorry.
Oh, like an old friend?
He used to be. Yeah, now we're good friends. I got to call that guy. Anyway, Brian Smith back to the lead. As Travis Gilbert looks low. Well, almost went 3 wide. King is thinking about it. Lurking right behind him, Patrick Colby, the stage 1 winner. Trying to find his way back into the lead.
What is Zachary King doing? He is to the outside now. Here comes Travis Gilbert. You need to stay on that inside line because the inside line is dominant right now. There's nothing on the outside. Travis Gilbert knows this. He's going to try to take the lead. These guys are getting 2 tires down off that apron. Travis Gilbert to the lead. This is where he wants to be. This is so dangerous for the field. But Travis Gilbert knows how to protect that lead at a track like this.
Look at
what makes him so good.
And that push coming from the 78. I think drivers have been trying to figure out all night long, how hard can you bump the guy in front of you? King getting a big push from Smith. Both the inside and the high line just kind of balanced out. Neither one seems that dominant as long as you have a decent number of cars there behind you. As King continues to fight with Gilbert. Everybody just seems like they're riding along right now. Maybe finally forcing themselves to have some patience after all these early cautions. And look back there on two drivers who have had issues, including this last caution. Everett's and Glazer on the march in the outside lane, breaking their way into the top 10 here on lap 56.
If you remember, Bentley Glazer started this race from the pits. He might have done that by, well, design.
Kyle Diaz, another driver, able to recover from an early accident. He went through the infield grass on that non-caution caution.
Call it what you will.
We call it a green flag caution.
I mean, look, we all need to get the lawn mowed, but
Yeah, I'm sure they have a guy for that. We don't need our drivers doing it.
I'm sure they get enough free landscaping as it is.
Oh, King almost into the side of Duncan. Gets a little loose there on entry. They're able to keep it straight. As we've now been green flag for 10 laps. One of the longest green flag runs of the night. Might actually have a chance to see tire wear come into play. Gilbert out in front. Cody Neal now pushing him out. Those two cars on a breakaway single file. Duncan gonna join them. Outside lane just seems to be losing a little bit of momentum here.
As Travis Gilbert continues to lead this thing. Cody Neal, and then there's a whole gaggle of cars right there. Johnson Duncan and Zachary King, Kyle Diaz and Brian Smith, 2 by 2.
Yeah, Smith now dropping in behind the inside lane. That's going to leave King out there without much help. He's got Patrick Colby there, but they don't have the runs they had a couple of laps ago. As Gilbert now even starts to gain a lead. I don't think you want to do that here at Atlanta. That just lets the guy behind you get a run. As we see Neal jump to the outside. He's going to try it. Gets on that fender for the side draft, and you can see it just slow Gilbert down. There's now Duncan and Diaz coming with a push.
So there's a lot of things you don't want to do here in Atlanta, and this is one of those things. Going side by side is not the thing you want to do either. You kind of want to have you and another friend. Cody Neal with Zachary King to the outside. That's going to be for the lead. Cody Neal, as he is neck and neck, gives a position to Travis Gilbert this time by in that vet to track number 22.
Wow, we have been sleeping on this live chat too, Alan. I just went over to look. We've got about 100 messages, starting it off with hashtag free Vinny, of course. Got to get that in.
We're not going to free Vinny.
Looks like Brian Smith getting a lot of love here from Anthony Tizio.
We're still not freeing Vinny. Even if we could free Vinny, we can't free Vinny.
I mean, some people reporting Vinny is watching with us tonight.
Well, I mean,
either in spirit or in streaming. one way or another.
He's watching.
We got our friend Andrew Dell last week suggesting a beer for every caution. We're going to have to check on him after this one.
I mean, look, if we have as many cautions as I think we're going to have, he might want to call AA. Call your sponsor, buddy. Call your sponsor. And I'm not talking about the one on the side of the race car either.
Side by
Well,
side still.
As I said, I tell you what, we're just about to the end of stage number 2 here. A little over, what, 15 laps?
Yeah, that's what we're looking at here. I mean, and like we mentioned all along, those drivers up front, really the top 10 right here, they are going to be hitting lap 40 right around the time that the stage ends. So we have had a caution or two to break it up. Ooh, there, a little bit of contact between Gilbert and Duncan. Big checkup. Kyle Diaz loses some momentum, but keeps it straight and safe. Ryan Patty working his way back up to the front. Involved in a couple cautions, including that one where he spun out of the lead. The racing getting really fun to watch right now.
You know, while we're got a lull in the action here, you know, I know we're 2x2. Want to give a shout out to our teammate here at SRM, Angel Santiago, got married Friday.
That's right.
You know, here's the thing, Shane. I joked with him all the time. I said, you know, when you get married, there's three rings, right? And he goes, yeah, what are those? I said, the engagement ring, the wedding ring, and the suffering.
Oh no, I haven't heard that one before. That's pretty good.
Look, Angel, if you're watching,
ooh, big checkup for Purcell. He goes backwards.
If Angel's watching, congratulations, though, are definitely in order.
Again, everybody, looks like tires are starting to wear out on these cars. They're getting loose. Really? They're getting tight all at the same time. We saw Patty up into the wall a lap or two ago. Purcell with a big checkup back through the middle.
We got 12 laps to go here in the stage. They got to hang on to them.
You just see the cars just don't look comfortable, especially on the front stretch.
No, they don't. These cars, you know, are going to be a handful for a little bit.
Ten to go in the stage. Now been green flag for 22 laps. Colby looking inside, but Smith going to push King in the outside lane. That's going to give all the momentum to them, but then King dives back to the bottom in front of Colby. Just got a report down from the infield care center. Nathan Finnegan has been released. He's a little bruised up on the ego, but no other injuries to report.
Well, I mean, at least it's just a bruised ego and not a bruised buttocks or you know, or broken bone or anything.
Colby all the way down on the backstretch, gonna lose. Oh, and there goes King sideways. He saves it.
What a save!
Right in front of the field.
He only lost like 2 spots.
Oh, and then we got another car sideways. No. Oh, Colby goes into the wall. Grinnell involved.
Oh man.
Right here. Yeah, let's actually rewind this all the way back. Actually, where Colby gets loose. That's kind of the start of this action here. Colby gets loose, so King loses his draft mate. He jumps up to the outside, picks up Brian Smith, but he has a huge run, and then there's a little bit of a late block by the 47. He gets sideways. He saves it, but watch this inside lane start to stack up as they check up, and that the 5 car looks like he goes to the middle. The 55 doesn't know he's there.
Oh, no. We had the big one.
And
they all
that
scatter.
snags another group of cars. They pick up Colby. I think Duncan, he picks up a little bit, goes through the grass. They get Woods, Glazer. Again, I'm not sure I saw any kind of race-ending damage, but some that's going to take some time to repair. And that's probably going to take care of any fuel questions here to make it to the end of the stage. As long as drivers are paying attention and saving some fuel under caution, I think everyone will be okay. Just 5 laps left here. Oh, it looks like Woods did pick up a meatball flag through that contact. Adam Ball is also on pit road with a meatball flag. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, we call the orange circle on a black flag the meatball flag, but it's really it tells you that you've got so much damage that iRacing wants you to come in and repair it before you even go back out on track. And that's usually an easy sign that you've got some significant damage to take care of.
Yeah, that is so unfortunate.
All right, well, since we've got so much action here in the live chat, I want to know your predictions. Who's going to win Stage 2? So we're going to come back with, I think, just 3 laps or so.
Oh, man. I think I'm going to go with Travis Gilbert. He's due.
As we look through the who's led the most, Charlie Widener has actually still led the most laps despite being out. He's led 23 tonight. Next up, Zachary King just led 15 there during that green flag run, and a little bit before that caution before that one. And then the only other driver in double digits lap led is Brian Smith with 13. So we come 1 lap to go, and this caution will be coming back to the green with 4 laps to go to the end of the stage.
Hey, get ready, because we are going to be buckled in here. It is go time.
And Nathan Finnegan chiming in. The key to this race going to be whoever can block a run without getting free. Going to be the secret.
Maybe Nathan Finnegan can prevent it. We can stop all these pre-Finny chats. Maybe not. Who knows?
Field coming back to the Echo Park restart zone. Brian Smith, Evan Patinko going to lead them back to green. There they go. Patinko on the outside lane, getting a push from Patty. They're going to lose a little bit of ground, though, to Smith and Gilbert on the inside. Looks like everybody else getting away pretty clean. And Smith out to the lead. King already
3 laps to go.
Yeah, King already jumped up to the outside lane, see if he can get a push from Patinko and Patty, but Sean Purcell in the 74. You know, Alan, that 74 car been having some really good runs here last. I think he had a top 10 both of the last 2 races. We're really seeing a spark out of him here in the middle of the season as he's looking low. Kind of loses his momentum as King goes by on the outside, but he's going to pick up Brzezowski on the bottom. Now King down to the bottom. Side drafting off the 22. Come by
well,
the
at least we
Flagstone.
know.
Oh, go ahead.
As I said, at least we know we can side draft here. Because here comes cars in the wall here.
Yeah.
We got
Camburn
3
in the
laps to
wall.
go.
He's going to keep it straight, though. Losing some time. Jacob Smith just ran the fastest lap of the whole race. But up front, it's still Smith, Gilbert, King. 1, 2, 3. Purcell, Patinko, Patty, and Brzezowski trying to find their way up there as King looks low. Coming out of turn 2. Not a lot of help there on the bottom, but he's giving it everything he's got, Alan.
Yeah, coming down the back straightaway one more time for the end of stage number 2. Who's it going to be? It looks like it's going to be Brian Smith. Here comes Zachary King, and he's got the owner of the Icon Cup Series. Brian Pettinger comes 3 wide to the end of stage number 2. And it's going to be Brian Smith picking up stage number 2.
That was some great, clean racing to finish out the second stage. Brian Smith grabbing that stage victory there. That's going to be his 11th stage win of the season, leading everybody here in the Icon Cup Series. Drivers probably going to hit pit road here. So we're going to jump away for a commercial break. We'll be right back for the start of the final stage here with the Icon Cup Series at Atlanta. Welcome back. Our first caution just came out. Or sorry, we're just our second stage just wrapped up. We've had a number of cautions.
Only 6.
Well, we are coming back to green here. Kyle Purcell and Jacob Smith out front. A couple of drivers looking to lead a lap here tonight. And we are green flag racing again. Brian Smith giving Purcell a big push on the bottom. And Jacob Smith in the 4. Going to get left alone as Gilbert goes down to the bottom, but Kyle Diaz going to come up, try to help him out on the outside. It's now Brian Smith. He jumps to the lead of that outside lane.
Bogart's hitting up pit road right now. Kyle Purcell on the inside of Brian Smith. Brian Smith's going to go down to try to block. He cannot get down there. He's not clear.
And there's 2x2 side by side all the way back to about 10th now. The field behind them really spaced out, and getting single file, but we're double file up at the front.
And that's what the back half of the field wants. The back half of the field wants this top half of the field to get double filed.
Yeah, I think at this point in stage 3, we still got 75 laps to go. I don't need to be racing up front side by side. I think I'm biding my time somewhere that feels safe.
I mean, you're gonna have to. Wow. Okay, hello. Travis Gilbert continues to try to help Purcell there, and at number 74 car. And here comes his teammate in the other VetaTrack.org car, Kyle Diaz. Where did he come from?
He came from about 25th starting position here at the beginning of the race. Or sorry, 30. My math isn't mathing tonight, Alan. Diaz up 28 positions from 31st starting position.
Your math has to math because my math doesn't ever math.
They're going along. They're going to come up on a lap car. Couple of lap cars. Looks like that's Hanover Fist and Mike Grenell. Those guys 23rd and 24th right now. Patrick Colby is currently the lucky dog, 1 lap down. He's the only car 1 lap down. Looking for a caution to get back caught up, but Gilbert and Diaz still out front. We got a little hairy there as those lap cars came up on the field. Everybody keeping it safe.
Well, guess who's back in the top 10?
The Rocket?
The Rocket, Zach Lockett. Got caught up in that earlier incident. Has repaired that car. And here he is. Now, Zach, don't get caught up in any more stuff.
So we have 19 cars on the lead lap and 24 out on the track. We got 2 cars of Adam Ball and Charles Woods. They have not hit to the beer stand yet, but they've been on pit road for a long time trying to get some repairs done.
I mean, you really don't want to head to the beer stand just yet. I mean, look, they got some ice cold frosty ones. But hey, if you're into virtual stands, make sure you buy that virtual 50/50 ticket. Could be worth a lot of money.
I'm getting reports from the live chat that Jacob Smith in the 4 running that Rolex scheme is actually a... Whoa, as Purcell goes down low to save it. I think he's going to be all right. Going to drop all the way to the back, but that's better than getting contact. Anyway, back up front, as I was saying, I'm hearing reports that this Rolex scheme is actually a throwback to one that Vinny would drive, so that's a hidden free Vinny hashtag right there.
Oh, jeez. Are we going to be trying to free Vinny all summer?
I mean, I'm not sure where this ends. Where does the free Vinny movement end, Alan?
It's a song that never ends. Goes on and on, my friends. I feel like the lady in lamb shop sing along.
Yeah, what was her name? I'm trying to remember. That's a true
That's
throwback.
an old one. I mean, could you remember as kids just like annihilating your parents' nerves or patience with that one?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, that was Coco Melon before there was Coco Melon. It really looks like these guys out front are just comfortable to kind of ride where they are. Nobody pushing the issue until you get back. Check in on Kyle Purcell. He's caught the field, didn't lose the draft, but still riding around the back. 74 of Sean Purcell doing what he can down here on the inside lane, but just can't seem to get enough other cars to go with him. But Lockett's going to go with him. He's going to jump down and lead that inside lane. See if they can get some momentum going as they're coming up on another lap car. And that is Zachary King, who we saw leading this race pretty well for 16 laps earlier. He's currently 2 laps down. Going to go 3 down if they go by him. I think if he can stay 2 laps down, maybe he's not going to be too aggressive about it, though. He could stay in the running to catch a lucky dog later, but he's going to need some cautions and wave arounds at this point. Now 3 laps down is that 47.
I have breaking news in the garage area. After much digging and diving, the lady in Land Shop's play along is Sherry Lewis.
Oh.
It was a ventriloquist and puppeteer and an entertainer. She is the creator and voice of Lamb Chop, a popular sock puppet. Also performed with other puppets like Charlie Horse.
Oh, Gilbert into the wall. He's going to lose the lead. The whole field's going to check up.
Oh, no,
4
no,
wide
no,
on the
no,
front
no,
stretch.
No. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. What a save. And that's why he is a talent.
They're not out of the woods yet. Still 3 and 4 wide. And I got to hand it. I mean, yeah, Gilbert kept it straight, but I got to hand it to everyone else on the track as they made their way through that. I didn't even see contact, much less anybody getting spun around. And that has kind of shaken everything up as now King gets his lap back as the inside lane gets all the momentum. That's brought the 74 to the front. Kyle Diaz, your leader. We got a car off in the back. I think that's the 14. Not going to lose the draft. Going to stay right there. Gilbert now riding in 10th on the inside lane, trying to recover. Oh, Diaz gets sideways. He's down the apron. He's trying to save it, Alan. Oh, and Brzezowski goes around.
And that's going to be caution number 8.
Man, I mean, we were lucky to survive that first one with Gilbert dropping back, but then I think everyone saw Diaz getting sideways on the inside, down on the apron, and, man, your parts of your body just tense up.
I mean, okay, let me ask you this. While we go back to the SRM replay. Do you say, oh, no. Do you freak out before you hit the wall or hit another car?
No, me personally, I'm pretty silent. All right, here's Diaz. He just gets loose, and this is another instance of where it almost looks like a really egregious netcode might be involved. But we're gonna say it looks like he just got loose. He gets down on the apron. It just has a little bit too much speed to stay down there, and then Brzezowski didn't actually see how that started. I think he gets into the back of Patty as everyone is checking up. Let's ride along with Nathan here. You can see Diaz down low, coming back up. Yeah, he gets into Patty, and then gets some additional contact from Bentley Glazer, look like.
Let's go aboard Bentley Glazer. Just for giggles.
And Glazer coming from a long way back. I'm not sure he had a line of sight to anything going on there. There you can see Diaz on the apron coming back into traffic. Oh, and he's locked up on the brakes, nowhere to go. Again, it could have been a lot worse with Diaz coming back up into traffic. And I'm not sure there was anything he could do there. I mean, he went down to the apron to save it and then had no way to scrub off speed to stay down there. And the drama continues here at Atlanta.
Attrition continues.
We've made it past 100 laps, now with 58 to go. And the 74 is our leader. Not only that, but Zachary King going to get one of those laps back. That really played into his hand, as he will be just one lap down, it looks like, right now. Maybe two. I thought he went 3 laps down when the leaders went by. So he should come back out 2, but the board is showing me 1, so we'll have to come back and check on that. Looks like the 14 has picked up a meatball flag. He's in the pits to get that taken care of. Coming back to the green flag next time around. Like I said, that 74 car has really been on the upswing here in the last few weeks.
Well, nonetheless, the Iracing.com pace car lights are out on the speedway, and they're out on the car and out on the speedway. The guy gets the pace car takes the erratic left-hand turn on the pit road to the Echo Park restart zone. Back to green flag, racing our lap 104. We are rocking and rolling once again to 160 laps.
Sean Purcell holding his own there against Brian Smith on the outside. He's got Jonathan Duncan tucked up behind him. And then we've got Smith, Neal, and Gilbert stacked together on the outside lane. Ooh, Jacob Smith throws a block on, I believe that's Patinko, and he's in the wall. It looked like a late block, Alan. Nobody willing to lift.
Yikes.
That's going to hurt that 81 car. That looked like pretty rough damage. You see that front fender pushed in on the right side.
That's going to hurt aerodynamically.
And he's hanging tough right now. As Purcell still trying to make that inside lane work, but the outside guys are right on top of each other, getting a huge push. As it's now Smith, Neal, Gilbert. Smith and Patty lined up on the outside lane. Ooh, and Jacob Smith up the track into the wall, has to check up. And that's going to bring a little bit of momentum back to the bottom, but there goes Duncan. He joins the top lane, leaves Purcell all by himself. That's going to open the door for the Rocket, Zach Lockett. He's coming up to give that 74 some help.
The Rocket, Zach Lockett to the inside. To the 74 card back bumper. Team Toyota going places together. Did you like how he did that?
That was good. I mean, that was... They ought to hire you.
Look, I'm not going to quit my day job, okay? I literally just started it.
Ooh, looks like Duncan got loose for just a moment. That inside lane hanging tight. They're not really making much ground, but they're not losing any either. At the same time, Zachary King got his lap back there with a wave around, staying in front of the leaders on that last caution. He's now sitting in the lucky dog position, the only car one lap down. I don't think we've seen the last of the 47 here tonight.
Absolutely not. 47 just keeps fighting back.
Duncan now leading the inside lane. He's going to come down, see what he can do. It's Purcell and Lockett trying to get to his bumper. Purcell way down the track. I'm not sure if he got loose and had to chase it down there. Out of turn 4. That outside lane has now lost a ton of its help, as Jacob Smith has been passed by Ryan Patty. They're 3 wide there with Kyle Diaz in the middle. They get it settled.
Only for a moment.
And it's 2 by 2, all the way back to 15th place now. Ryan Patty gets a big run, decides not to give Gilbert too hard of a push. And I know we're just 11 laps here since the last time most of these drivers came down pit road, but it kind of, you can see the tires starting to go away. The car is really getting unsettled, uncomfortable in the corners, especially on exit.
They're going to have to come down one more, at least maybe 1 to 2 more times.
Yeah, I think if I have fresh tires and we get a caution here, I'm going to come and get them. But fuel-wise, yeah, it's a one-stop race from here on out. For everyone except Zachary King. He's going to have to pit here in about 10 laps. I think that's been part of his strategy to get a lap back.
To get off cycle and then hope a caution comes out.
Duncan now even with Smith. Smith going to lead that lap. Now Duncan getting a healthy push from the 74 of Sean Purcell. Just been some great racing all night here. As we kind of mentioned pre-race, Atlanta, a track designed to do this, to produce dramatic finishes and great racing all throughout the race. Delivering here with the Icon Cup Series. Duncan losing a lot of speed there. Kind of stacking up the inside lane.
He just falling back to Sean Purcell to get that draft.
Oh, we got a car around.
No caution yet.
Saw
no
Camburn involved. He's sideways there out of turn 4.
He's out of the way.
Oh, and that's going to do it.
Oh.
Bring out another yellow here on lap 118. I have to go back and check that one out. Ooh, Eldred involved too. Let's back it up a little more. See how this one gets started. Looks like, is that Ross checking up? And then Camburn just gets contact from behind. Eldred goes down low to try to save it. He gets caught up in it as well. Let's see who that was. And oh, it actually starts with what we were watching, which is Duncan. Duncan has to check up, and that stacks the inside lane up all the way back to the 44. And then is that the 23?
Christian Scheich
makes a little bit of contact with Camburn. That's enough to kick that caution off. And then Camburn just trying to get it turned around to get back on track safely, but Iracing deciding that's too dangerous. We catch another caution.
Oh, come on.
Everybody hitting pit road now. Everyone except Zachary King, because I think he just got the lucky dog to get back on the lead lap. So he's going to come around and pit this next time around. And that will kind of reset everyone in the top 20 to all be on the same pit strategy with 4 fresh tires and a full tank of fuel to finish this thing out, Alan.
We used to do dangerous things all the time, and now we could turn around on a racetrack. They were on the back straightaway. He had plenty of time, but whatever. Iracing called a caution. Look, we don't make the rules. We just play by them. "41 laps to go here, Shane, and right now it's been all Brian Smith, all Cody Neal, and all Travis Gilbert all race long."
Yeah, again, as we kind of take a look back at who's been leading this thing, Brian Smith leading the most laps with 34. Next up is Charles Widener, who is out of the race. He led 23 before heading to the beer stand. Travis Gilbert has led 17. And Zachary King, who just got the lucky dog to come back on the lead lap, has led 16 laps. Those are the only drivers leading double digits tonight. As we are now 1 lap to green here under caution. It's going to be Brian Smith and Cody Neal on the front row. And we did break the race recap window, Alan. I'm going to try and get it adjusted a little bit so we can fit all of these cautions into the notes. Let's see. There we go. We're getting it pretty good here. Charles Widener started on pole. We just mentioned he is out of the race after leading 23 laps. Then we've had caution after caution. The latest here on lap 118 with Camburn and Van Schaik getting together as they checked up on the inside lane. Just lost so much momentum. We've had a number of cautions that really just seemed to be someone out front getting loose and the guy on his bumper not being able to check up in time, sending that front car around. That's been the recurring theme here. As we come back to that Echo Park restart zone one more time. Green flag is in the air. And we're racing again. Brian Smith, Cody Neal, Jonathan Duncan, Travis Gilbert, Jacob Smith, Ryan Patty, Zach Lockett, Sean Purcell, John Ross, and Kyle Diaz are your top 10. As we have just 39 laps to go. Somebody, Purcell, down on the apron. Another great save. They're 3 wide. No harm, no foul. They get back to 2 wide. Diaz able to get to the outside. Ahead of Everett's.
This is where the racing is going to get good. Now we're going to get cranked up to crazy here.
Yeah, as we see Brian Smith and Cody Neal, they've been working together all night long. Buddy Motorsports teammates, and now they have Jacob Smith, their other teammate, lined up right behind them. And Ryan Patty says, "You guys want to go to the front? Let's go." Those 3 now going to be on a breakaway, single file at the front. I'm not sure how long Patty's going to sit there and help them out. I think he's going to be diving to the bottom here in the next lap or 2.
Come on, Travis. You got this, buddy. Lap 124, 160, 123 laps in the history books. The 4 car is going to get the wall. Here comes the Rocket, Zach Lockett to the inside. He's going to help the 22 car of Travis Gilbert.
It looked like Duncan almost got turned by Purcell. Kind of changing lanes awkwardly. Purcell going to throw him 3 wide and get around. And then he tags the wall trying to pull that move off. That's going to let Duncan back by him on the bottom. Patty continuing to pound on that rear bumper of the 4. But Gilbert now out front. The inside lane prevailing as Gilbert and Lockett are now single file. And Gilbert jumping back and forth. This is going to set us up for some 2x2 at the front. As it's now Zach Lockett and Travis Gilbert pulling those 2 trains around the track.
And here comes Zach Lockett to the lead on the inside of Travis Gilbert. Here on lap 126, 125 laps in the history books. Come on, Zach. Oh, the 2 guys that want to win. And he's got help from his teammate, the boss, John Ross, up there. He's been caught up in some incidents there. And they are all battling. It's going to be the battle of Adrenaline Motorsports.
Yeah, looking good right now. That's the first lap that the Rocket has led tonight. Now Jonathan Duncan putting them 3 wide, and Kyle Diaz going to make his way up to P3. As we have another caution. Looks like Camburn backwards again. That 88 car has had some terrible luck at Atlanta in this race. Looks like Cody Eldred involved. He's been involved in a number of wrecks as well. Let's go back and take a look. What happened to that 88? Ooh, it's just again, these guys are just trying to react to what's going on in front of them. Let's go back that up. It's actually starts with up here between the 78, the 38, and the 4. They're all in dirty air trying to push each other. I think the 4 gets in the wall, and he checks up real quick. The 74 tries to get underneath of him, but can't in time. And all of these drivers are staring at that 74 coming down the track. I think Camburn reacts, trying to avoid the 74, comes across the nose of the 32. And the 55 joins the party. Everybody else behind them, though, doing a great job to check up. Brzezowski just narrowly missing contact with the 32. Bentley Glazer gets by as well. So we got a couple of things. Now, here's something interesting, Alan. I think Brian Smith just hit pit road. He did.
That last 20-lap run, I mean, you almost have to.
Yeah, a big chunk of our leaders have decided to come down. And it looks like Brian took just fuel. Neil took 2 tires. Zachary King takes fuel only. Sean Purcell takes 2 tires. So now the top 9 drivers, they pitted back on lap 119. They should be able to make it to the end of the race on fuel, but are now going to be at a slight tire disadvantage, about 9 laps different than Brian Smith, Cody Neal, Nathan Brzezowski, Sean Purcell, Chuck Van Schaik, Evan Patinko. All of those drivers going to have a little bit of a tire advantage, which should either allow them to stay out at the next caution or just have a little bit of an advantage all the way to the end if it stays green. Tenth caution of the night. 9th for cause. One of those, I believe, was just the stage 2 end.
One of them was stage 2 end. You're 100% correct. We're getting near the end.
Coming out of turn 4 for the 12th time tonight. Coming back to the green flag here, the Echo Park Speedway in the Echo Park restart zone. Zach Lockett, the Rocket, going to pull ahead down on the bottom. We got the 44 of John Ross leading the outside lane with a healthy push from Jonathan Duncan. Kyle Diaz and Travis Gilbert just behind our leader as Diaz jumps to the high line. Sees that clean air and says, I'll take that. As he goes to the lead.
Don't count out the boss, John Ross, as he is working that outside line. The Rocket, Zach Lockett. Kyle Diaz is going to take the lead for the first time tonight here on lap 132. As he is being flanked by, well, he's in line behind that 22 car. That's Travis Gilbert. The boss, John Ross, has got to get down to his teammate, the Rocket, Zach Lockett. And there's Yelwater Purcell.
Yeah, everybody's starting to get antsy. There's no patience left. Everyone kind of has the feeling, hey, if we get into a mess of cautions, I want to be out front so that I can avoid them. Ryan Patty now down low, trying to push the 0-1 of Kyle Purcell as Ross gives a good push to the 22. Brian and Jacob Smith working their way back to the front on those fresh tires. I thought for a second the 78 was going to put him 3 wide, but he stayed in line behind the 44. Gilbert looking to the outside, but then lifts and tucks back in behind the 26.
Oh,
Gilbert
boy,
and
go.
Diaz. Ooh, John Ross gets loose.
Save it.
Back up into traffic.
Gilbert gets it. Oh, no.
Caution is out.
For the 11th time today.
take a look at that one. It's Ross.
He never really had it saved.
Comes back up. Looks like Patinko going to be the first one to make contact. Then Gilbert. Colby, Camber, Eldred, Grenell, and Glazer. I mean, it's the same 5 guys that just made it through the last wreck clean. And that's going to set us up with 25 laps to go.
Remember the fuel strategy? Throw that out the window right now.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you've been saving just a little bit under caution, we shouldn't be worried about fuel. The fresher tires didn't seem to bring anyone straight to the front right away, but that might pay off later in the run.
Look, I'm gonna put if I'm one of those guys in the back that needs some points, I'm going to put a set of tires on there if I have them. Put fuel tank, put a full tank of Go Fast in there, and then drive that car back to the field like a hacked off teenager. Just saying.
So Kyle Diaz in the lead with Travis Gilbert and Zach Lockett. Again, we are running out of space here at our race recap.
I think that happened at Homestead.
Our stage winners were Patrick Colby and Brian Smith. Charles Widener started on pole, but he's been wrecked out for quite some time now. As we look through the field, we have 22 cars still on the track. Make that 21 as John Ross is going to park it. And we've got 17 cars on the lead lap. I mean, I would say the safest place on track is going to be in the lead, but we've seen 2 leaders get loose and get spun earlier in stage 1. I'm not sure anywhere is safe right now, Alan.
I mean, the only safe spot right now is the beer stand. And even that might not even be safe.
Coming down the backstretch, going to be coming back to the green flag. Going to have 22 laps remaining when that pace car hits pit road. You know what? I kind of want to, let's see if we can ride on board with this pace car driver as he exits the track this time, because it is a wild ride. Let's see, can I get any drivers? I can't get any hometown information here on the pace car driver, but he looks locked in. White knuckle grip. Look at that. That's incredible. That guy,
he's all but led all the laps.
He has earned his paycheck here tonight. As the green flag is out again, Kyle Diaz and Travis Gilbert lead them back into turn 1. And behind them is Zach Lockett, Brian Smith, Kyle Purcell, Jacob Smith, Ryan Patty, Jonathan Duncan, Cody Neal. Sean Purcell makes up the top 10.
22 to go. Here comes Kyle Diaz. The Rocket, Zach Lockett on the inside. And look, Kyle Diaz and Zach Lockett have the best two drafting partners, in my opinion, with Brian Smith. Brian Smith gonna abandon the inside line, gonna go to the outside line. I can't believe he just did that. I cannot believe he just did that.
Doing everything he can to get up to the front. He's going to jump to the outside with his teammate there to go around Zach Lockett.
But he... Never mind.
Here they come. Ooh, Neal jumps up to help push the 78 there. Tight squeeze, but they're going to make it work. Those three teammates together again, but losing some momentum there at the price of getting connected. And there he is, Alan. The 47 was 3 laps down. Got one of them back by unlapping himself just before a caution. Stayed out, not pitting the next time to go back just to 1 lap. Then caught the lucky dog. He's in our top 5. And the field is only getting faster. The 77 of Nathan Brzezowski now up to 4th place. He just ran the fastest the fastest lap of the night. Whew. A 29.5. Brzezowski on the move. He's up 16 positions from the start of the race. Seen him be involved in a couple of the wrecks as well. This has been a night of attrition and now redemption. King looking inside of Brzezowski. Duncan going to go with him. Now the 77 kind of stranded there on the outside. The 5 car, he's been involved in a couple cautions as well. That's Matt Everett. It's a part-time driver as Brzezowski now in that middle sucker hole, as Waltrip would call it. And they're 3 wide now for just a second. Duncan on the outside. Everett's in the middle. And Chuck Van Schaik now up to 6th. Really every big name in the field showing up when it matters here at the end.
Just 16 laps to go. Zach Lockett's gonna... Oh, nope. Jonathan Duncan gonna take him out with the proverbial pump fake.
Goes right around. And then, I tell you what, I just said every big name's here for the party. Brian Smith all the way back to 10th. Cody Neal back there too. Ryan Patty back there. Sean Purcell back there. What? All of these guys were up front. And I'm not sure if they dropped back because it's getting dicey. But with 15 to go, you don't have time to be playing strategy. You need to be out front, trying to lead laps and be there at the end. The 5 of Everett's gets loose off the nose of the 78. As Bryant's goes 3 wide around the outside. He's going to have his teammates and Patty with him.
No. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it.
They're going to do it.
Maybe you can.
Diaz still leading Gilbert and Lockett up front. Now they're kind of single filed out. All the way back to Brian Smith there on the outside. Duncan going to go low on Lockett. Lockett losing a lot of speed there. Checks up. That's going to let the front 2 start to pull away. Not sure that's a good thing for them, as this pack is going to build some momentum in the draft and catch them pretty quickly.
Right now, with 12 laps to go, Travis Gilbert is in protection mode. He is protecting that 26 car. He is protecting himself. It's all... Oh, wow. It's Jonathan Duncan in line also. One of these guys, they got to think about making that move.
And Duncan has been zigging and zagging here, picking up every position he can. As now Van Schaik sits in fourth ahead of Zachary King. Then Brzezowski sitting in sixth. The Buddy Motorsports train is kind of stalled out there on the outside lane. So they're separated now from Jacob and Ryan Patty, who all four of those guys have been working together most of the night. King now looking to the outside. We're going to jump on board with him as he makes his move. Just no one to go with him. As now Smith drops back down to the inside. Kyle Diaz and Travis Gilbert still out front. So we look at this. Kyle Diaz winless this season. Travis Gilbert winless this season. Jonathan Duncan winless this season. Chuck Van Schaik has a win. There in fourth, Brian Smith, the 78, he's got a win. But Brzezowski doesn't yet.
This could be his night.
Oh, Gilbert goes sideways. And they're wrecking.
Oh, no. He's taking his teammate.
Oh, multiple cars involved. Oh, hard hit for the 55. The hood's up on the 30 of Ryan Patty. Zachary King sliding across the track. Purcell. Glazer makes it through again. I think he has survived more wrecks than anyone, and Patty still with the hood up. Yeah, that's a tough one to drive there, Alan.
Oh, no.
All right, look like this one started with Gilbert. I'm gonna back it up a little bit, see how this happens. Looks like he throws a late block on Duncan. Duncan saves it. Brzezowski saves it down low at first. Then King makes contact. Gilbert involved. Let's ride on board Zachary King, because I know he gets some contact. You can see the smoke. Everybody checking up. He goes down to avoid it. And then they all kind of slide back up onto the track. He's going to lose it a little bit there. Glazer just makes it through. Glazer pretty much going as low as you can go to avoid that one. Let's go back and ride with Kyle Purcell as well. He has to make some moves. A little bit of contact with a 55. Sees cars going sideways in front of him. You know, he gets hit by somebody there on the right side, but I think it actually straightened him out and kept him from going up into the outside wall. Big contact there for a number of drivers. So only 8 cars stay out on track. Everybody else coming down.
8 cars, you say?
That's who did not pit there after that caution. Actually, it's even less. A few of those drivers had already come back out before I was looking. Looks like only the top 6 stayed out. That's Kyle Diaz, Brian Smith, Jonathan Duncan, Chuck Van Schaik, Cody Neal, Patrick Colby. Then first out of the pits is Brzezowski, Zach Lockett, Jacob Smith, Sean Purcell, and Bentley Glazer. Looks like Glazer had some damage to get repaired, but all those other folks I mentioned just taking a standard 4-tire stop to set them up for a finish. We have just 6 laps to go. It's going to be 5 to go as they cross the line here. And that's going to set us up to be 1 to green. So it's going to be 4 laps to the finish here in the Atlanta 240, the Icon Cup Series on SRM. We're glad you're watching with us. This has been a wild race. A lot of cautions, a lot of miraculous saves, and a lot of great racing. That last caution coming out on lap 153. Travis Gilbert and Jonathan Duncan making contact, battling for second position. And this is what we've been waiting for all night. The run to the finish. Gilbert actually picked up a meatball flag. He's still on pit road, not going to be involved in this finish. He had led 18 laps, Alan. That's a big one for him. Kyle Diaz has led 28, and Brian Smith has led 39, and they're going to be on the front row for this restart. 4 to go at the line. And that green flag is out. Good start on the bottom for the front 3 cars. And we have a caution already. The 5 involved. Not what we were looking for there. Just these cars aren't even really lined up here to go. The 5 just spins the tires.
That's going to be a green-white checker.
Yeah, that's a shame for the 5. He's a part-time driver, Matt Everett's out here having some good runs, some bad luck involved in a couple of the cautions, but at one point he was up in the top 5, I believe. But no damage to be seen on that car. We're going to re-rack them and restack them again.
I mean, we get 3 attempts at a green-white checker, so.
We do if we need them. Again, a little race rundown. We had our stages at lap 40 and 80. 5 sets of tires. We're up. We will do up to 3 green-white checker attempts. And here comes the first one. It's our 13th caution of the day. I'm going to have to add. Didn't even have time to add that one to the recap.
Did you make more room?
I did. I've been spreading this thing out so we can get everything in tonight. There we go. Last caution on lap 157. That's Everett's spinning the tires on the restart going around. And as we continue under caution, still not 1 to green. We have 17 cars on the lead lap. Looks like 20 cars still out on track, although 3 of them are in the pits with extended repairs being made. And I'm a little nervous for Kyle Diaz. We said you could throw that fuel strategy out the window, but now that the green-white checker is involved, Kyle Diaz has run 39 laps on this tank, as has Jonathan Duncan. While we haven't really made it to the end of a fuel tank here tonight, my guess was somewhere between 40 and 43 laps. And that's what they are both going to have to run to finish this out under just 1 green-white checker.
Oh, I'm getting scared for these guys.
And as we mentioned, we're probably going to need somebody to go check on Andrew in the live chat. He's been enjoying a beverage for every caution, and that's the 13th one tonight.
He's done with their 12-pack then. Andrew, blink one if you're, or blink twice if you're good.
All right, we're coming down the backstretch. We are actually going to finish out the anticipated race length of 160 laps here when we come back to the flag stand, and then it's going to be 2 extra laps to go as we have our first green-white checker attempt. The caution comes out on the first lap of those 2. We'll do it again. If a wreck happens on the final lap of the race, Iracing will not throw a caution and will let these guys race it back to the finish. As we get lined up one more time, hopefully. Pace car is on pit road. Kyle Diaz and Brian Smith going to lead them back. Jonathan Duncan and Chuck Van Schaik in row 2. Green flag in the air. Everybody keeping it straight so far. No spun tires that time. Can already see Zachary King making some desperate moves in the back. Trying to get to the front in just 2 laps is a tall order, but Cody Neal now moves up to third with Zach Lockett pushing him as that outside lane did not get a great push there in the turn. A couple cars getting squirrely. That leaves Kyle Diaz out front. Jonathan Duncan pushing him, trying to block both lanes behind him as well, but that's going to let Cody Neal get a run on the outside, but he's all alone. Here comes Brian Smith. White flags in the air. 1 to go. Contact between Lockett and Duncan. I see cars going around. Doesn't matter. We're racing back. Diaz with a big lead. Maybe too big. They're going to get a run on him. Duncan trying to decide where to go. He goes to the outside. Teammates Neal and Smith pushing Duncan there on the outside lane. It's a drag race back to the finish. Contact. Zach Lockett goes through the grass. Kyle Diaz throws some elbows. Oh, Kyle Diaz brings it home. Cars everywhere. Big contact there for Patty. We're going to have to go back and watch that finish again.
Kyle Diaz just won this race.
That was incredible.
That's a classic Atlanta. That's what Atlanta does.
We're going to go back to the white flag and watch this one from above. As you can see, Lockett trying to make his way in there, but Neal is guarding it. As drivers are still finishing, trying to get a lock here. Well, let's go ahead and watch Kyle Diaz do his burnouts. We'll come back and watch that victory white flag lap when we have a minute here in between interviews, but that was spectacular racing. Going to be Kyle Diaz in first, Jonathan Duncan second, and Cody Neal third. Chuck Van Schaik and Brian Smith round out the top 5. Sean Purcell in 6th. He picks up his 3rd top 10 in a row. Zach Lockett finishes 7th after going through the grass, I believe. That was awesome. Let's go ahead and start pulling some of these podium drivers up into the booth. We're going to start with our 3rd place driver. Driver of the 38, Cody Neal. Cody, you got a copy?
I got you. Loud and clear.
Wow. I mean, what a finish, man. It was a great race all night long, but the finish really put the cherry on top of the sundae for me. Tell us about your night.
Man, this track, a lot of people hate on it, but this just driving is unbelievable. I mean, it's just like Dega or Daytona, but you actually have to drive. And this thing was getting loose all night, and then out of nowhere it would get plowing tight up by the wall, and what a drive. That was fun.
Yeah, we saw you working with your teammate most of the night, and then you guys kind of get separated here on this final green-white checker restart. So what's going through your mind here? Are you looking around for your teammate, or are you saying, hey, I'm just going to work with whoever's here?
Well, I think he got a little loose there on that restart, spun the tires a little bit. And I really didn't have a choice. I jumped up in front of him, hoping he could get back to me, but just didn't have enough time. But he'll be back up on the podium again, and see what we can do next week at Chicago.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Anybody else you want to send some thanks and shout outs to?
Buddy Motorsports guys, of course. Got another guy trying to join the league. Hopefully they can get him in. And you guys putting on the broadcast. You guys do great.
Well, we appreciate you. Congratulations on the great finish. We'll see you next week in Chicago.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Looks like Jonathan Duncan still sitting down in his team chat. We'll give him a minute. In the meantime, we'll pull up the race winner for you, Alan. You got Kyle Diaz in the booth.
Kyle, first of all, congratulations on winning here tonight in Atlanta. But take us through that race, and what does it mean to have a guy like Travis Gilbert right behind you, kind of helping you along the way?
First of all, it was an amazing race, and I couldn't have done it without Travis, of course. He was giving me a lot of help throughout the last part of the race, and even when he wasn't up there to physically help me, he was giving me like all the tips and what I should be doing. So,
yeah, exactly. Even there, even with 15 to go, I was telling Shane, I said, look, that 22 car is going to start protecting that 26 car. If Travis Gilbert can't win it, he would love to see Kyle get one, and here you are in victory lane. But man, I got to tell you what fun was that watching you throw down those blocks, and I think this track really fits into your driving style.
yeah, this is one of my better tracks, I would say. So I feel like, been pretty good at the drafting track. So it feels good to get it done here tonight. And even though with the new update in the car, driving a little bit differently, and it was kind of a handful. So able to get around something like that is always a plus.
Absolutely. Well, before we get you out of here, is there anybody you'd like to think to help get you here tonight?
My team, of course, especially Travis Gilbert, I could have done without him. So thanks to him again. And just shout out to you guys for putting on these broadcasts here.
Awesome job. Well, once again, congratulations on winning here tonight and at Echo Park Speedway, and go celebrate that win with your team, of course.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
And that was the voice of Kyle Diaz.
Yeah, well, we've got a minute. Let's take a quick look back at that white flag lap, because there is heavy contact further on back in the field. Patrick Colby involved right here. Something goes wrong. Oh, it's Glazer gets sideways. That collects a whole number of cars. Oh, 47 takes a ride through the fence. Brzezowski's internet gives up. And then at the front, Kyle Diaz trying to hold him off. As they come around, we're going to slow it down because there's a lot going on. Zach Lockett trying to push the 26. He gets tight and comes up into Duncan. That's going to send him through the grass. And then everybody behind him stays in it. Diaz can feel Duncan getting a run, so he comes up, throws the elbows out. Just enough to kind of change his momentum. And then they're going to ride to the finish. Right there. What a finish. Cody Neal third, Jonathan Duncan second. And Kyle Diaz there on the inside. What a race, Alan.
Yeah, absolutely. What a finish here tonight. Holy cow, I am out of breath.
Yeah, I don't see Duncan coming up to the waiting room. So we'll go ahead and wrap this one up. So we take a look at our final results here at Atlanta. Kyle Diaz bringing it home. Jonathan Duncan in second. Cody Neal third. Chuck Van Schaik, Brian Smith, Sean Purcell, Zach Lockett, Jacob Smith, Kyle Purcell, and Ryan Patty are your top 10. Then Patrick Colby, Mike Grenell, Chris Camber, and Nathan Brzezowski through 14th. Those were everyone on the lead lap. Then we had Bentley Glazer, Zachary King, Matt Everett finishing one lap down through 17th. Cody Eldred in 18th. Travis Gilbert ended up 9 laps down after needing repairs from his caution there. Evan Patinko in 20th. Kyle Gilbert 21st. John Ross 22nd. Hanover Fist 23rd. Jacob Gladelich 24th. Adam Ball 25th. Charles Woods 26th. Thomas Taylor 27th. Charlie Widener, your pole sitter, ends up 28th after heavy contact. And Michael Taylor is 29th with Nathan Finnegan 30th, Robert Bloom 31st, Kevin Gunther 32nd, and Brad Delph 33rd around in and out. And that's that, Alan. What a night.
What a night. Once again, congratulations to Travis Gilbert for picking up the win here. Well deserved.
Yeah, so that's going to wrap it up here for us at SRM in the Icon Cup Series at Atlanta. A great race, a lot of cautions, but some great racing and a tremendous finish. Thanks everybody for watching out in YouTube land and participating in the chat with us. We always have a great time with you. Make sure somebody checks on Andrew. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Hope you have a happy 4th of July week and weekend, and we'll see you Sunday night for some racing in the streets of Chicago.